etc. These ideas weren't the only fruit of his labors. Often they were the least compelling part. Montaigne was born and remained a Catholic, but his ruminations on religion and humankind's place in the universe, for example, were just that, an unflappable, unhurried exploration of every aspect of whatever subject happened to interest him, whether that led him into profundity, confusion, or even contradiction. Montaigne's biographer and one of his finest translators, Donald Frame, described Montaigne's style as free, oral, informal, personal, concrete, luxuriant in images, organic, and spontaneous in order, ranging from the epigrammic to the rambling and associative. One of the many pleasures of reading Montaigne is the sense that one is not so much reading a book as simply listening to an amiable, amusing, intellectually ecumenical human being thinking aloud about a variety of subjects that interest him. Ultimate conclusions and logical consistency be damned. As befits the originator of the modern essay, Montaigne wrote foremost to find out what he thought, and his readers are invited along to listen in while he does so. Maybe best of all, Montaigne is good company. He is also a dedicated amateur classicist, the very best kind of aficionado. He read and reread Horace and Cicero and Virgil and Ovid and Lucretius and others, not to become or to appear learned, but because these ancient authors continue to stimulate and sustain him. His famous tower in Bordeaux, where he retired to ponder life and compose his essays, were packed with volumes by these cherished authors for the same reason that the home of the early 18th century Scottish poet James Thomson was similarly stocked. To cheer the gloom, there studious let me sit, and hold high converse with the mighty dead. Montaigne's work is embroidered with the best that had been thought and said by these mighty dead, and he himself anticipated a possible objection to his literary method. Someone might say of me that I have here only made up a bunch of other people's flowers, have furnished nothing of my own but the thread to tie them. But Montaigne's point of view is rarely overwhelmed by these other voices, which only serve to embellish and illuminate the essayist's own thoughts and feelings. Nearly 500 years of writers who have been inspired by and attempted to emulate his method may not have been as successful, myself included, utilizing many favorite long-deceased authors of my own who weren't even born when Montaigne was alive and composing his essays. But that's one of the reasons one keeps writing. Maybe next time you'll get it right, or at least closer to what it's supposed to be. If How to Die, a book about being alive, is supposed to be anything, it's an examination of death, what it is and how we think about it, counterbalanced by a spirited rebuttal from life. When I told a friend I was writing this book, she replied, "What do you know about death?" Meaning, I believe, both of my parents were still alive and my wife and I were healthy and happy. All I could think to answer was, as much as anybody who hasn't died yet, I guess. Additionally, an odd thing happens once one reaches the mid-century mark. People start to die. Not just any people either, but people you know well and sometimes even love. Colleagues, friends, family, and people you don't know but have known all your life anyway. The sports and musical heroes, the movie actors and newsmakers of our youth and early adulthood, most of whom, even before they die, slowly fade from public consciousness, only to be replaced by new, younger icons who will, in time, endure their own eclipse as well. Favorite restaurants and bars and businesses, too, begin to disappear with regularity, along with things less brick-and-mortar tangible, but no less significant. When I moved to Toronto 35 years ago... 35? No, it can't be. Do the math again. Wow, yeah, 35. Toronto meant Queen Street West second-hand book buying and dive bar slumming and city TV. It meant Maple Leaf Gardens and the Brunswick House. It meant 7, count 'em 7, repertory theaters. Now, what used to be Queen Street cool is chiefly a shopping destination for 905ers visiting the city for the afternoon. City TV is a media conglomerate's neutered facsimile of what it once proudly, independently was. Maple Leaf Gardens is a Loblaws, and the adored Brunny, scene of so many bacchanalian stunts and shenanigans, is a Rexall. And most people I know, myself included, get their movies on Netflix or via other streaming services, eliminating the need to ever leave.